go, let's go.
Yo,
Welcome back. Welcome back again.
Yo.
Season 2 premiere.
Yo.
Episode 1. We back in Bushwick, your favorite podcast.
That's a fact.
Your 3 favorite co-hosts, Andy,
Hello.
Jay Styles, and a surprise guest, surprise co-host today. We got the amazing Bella.
The beautiful.
The
Not
beautiful.
bad.
Say what's
Yeah.
Hello. She's gonna bless y'all with her personality and grace. That sounds like a Biggie line.
Yeah, it works. Having grace.
But we in Brooklyn, baby. So
That makes sense.
Let's do it. Today we got 3 guests for you as always. We got Mike AC, tattoo artist and TV personality. He's on the show Black Ink. I'm pretty sure everybody knows.
Black Ink Crew, New York, y'all.
So,
Let's go. You're gonna get a chance to meet him. You're also gonna get a chance to meet my boy
Juan Rosa
Juan
from
Rosa.
NALEO, the National Association of Latino Elected Officials. He's going to talk to us about citizenship and census and the importance of applying for the census and what that means for all of us
Yep.
and all that good jazz. Juan's an amazing person. I've known him for a long time. I'm glad he's here with us today on the show.
And we also gonna have a music artist, a young talent from Brooklyn. His name is CHS Mills.
Mills.
Very impressive young artist.
That's what the show's
And
all
he's
about.
young too.
It's all about
He's,
bringing the
he's
young
nasty
artists up.
now. Imagine what he's older. Yeah, let's get into it. You know, we always talk about a few trending topics. We're gonna talk about today 6ix9ine. We're gonna talk about what's going on.
Jazz.
We're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're gonna talk about something that happened in the subway system, which is a little kind of heartwarming. Well, not heartwarming,
Sad.
yeah,
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna play a couple games. We're gonna get to know these people, and I'm just excited to be here again. I'm excited to have all you guys listening. Season 2. Let's get it started with Mike AC. Let's get
go.
it started, baby. Thank you for coming.
Yo, thank you for having me. Thank
Of
you.
course.
For those that don't know, we know Mike for our whole life pretty
Yeah.
much, right?
Yeah, as long as I know me.
Right.
So, Mike, let's get into the. I like to start with the origins. Where you from? Tell everybody where you from.
Right here, Bushwick, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is where I'm born and raised at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got family ties, obviously, in Puerto Rico and beyond. I'm finding out a lot of connections to, like, you know, Africa and, you know, Portugal and France. So it's just really dope. But I think that naturally, us as Puerto Rican and Caribbean people, we come from so
Everywhere.
many different places. So
Definitely.
I'm just a man of the world. That's all I look at. Like, word.
I like that. I like that statement.
Word.
Man of the world. Yeah. What got you in? Let's talk about the tattooing. What got you into the tattooing?
Honestly, I would say it's, I got my first tattoo when I was 18, and it was something about, I guess for me, that, like, I've always loved art, always, but I've always noticed that, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody can buy your artwork and it could, like, change hands, and it could, you know, it could end up in a basement somewhere.
Yeah.
But I felt like with tattooing, this is gonna live on someone's body forever. So for me, as an artist, I feel like we try to leave a mark. We try to leave our mark on the world, and we try to leave, you know, a bit of ourselves with everyone we meet. So what better way to do that than to put my art on someone's skin? This is gonna be with them way past, you know, I mean, even when they're gone, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's gonna be with them in their grave, you know, decomposing with them, you know what I'm saying? So it's just something, this is a bigger deal for me than just, you know, being able to create a you know, paper on canvas, yeah.
And it's an interesting thing though, right? Because even like I find when I do like these graphics, like, you know, when we did this, right, it was sort of all of our ideas and we put it together. So I would assume when you're doing somebody's tattoo, you're combining your genius with that person's genius in a sense, and then you come up with the art.
And I think what's bigger for me is like I always try to have like clients come to me with something that like means something to them. So I love things with meaning, because if I can be a part of your story somehow, if you have something that's like important to you and you want to display that in some form of art, like if I could now be a part of that story, I mean, every time you talk about that moment, talk about that tattoo, you're gonna mention me somehow. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna think of me in that moment.
Right.
So for me, I live on forever, no matter, like, I could be gone tomorrow, but like through my artwork, somebody's gonna think of me, someone's gonna talk about me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel like we all try to do. We just wanna live forever,
Right.
you know, even if not
Through
in
our
the
work.
physical. Yeah,
Mhm.
even not in the physical, so.
Yeah, that's cool.
Amen to that.
Definitely. So we know that you're a TV personality now. You got into the show Black Ink.
Right.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you, thank you.
How did he even get it? How did that even start? Like,
Right, so a lot of people think that like this kind of stuff just falls.
I know that's not overnight neither.
No, yeah. So it's not like, you know, I mean, I've put in a lot of work and I've gone to a lot of networking events and I've made sure I put myself around people who make those decisions. And I mean, I was taking trips out to LA, taking trips out to Miami, taking trips out wherever I could that I knew
Just put
I
yourself
needed
out
to
there.
be. And then I landed a gig working for MTV behind the camera. Excuse me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was working for MTV behind the camera for season, I believe it's season two of How Far Is Tattoo Farm. And I was just like a consultant for them where I was managing all the tattoo rooms
I love
on
that show.
set.
That was here
Yeah.
in New York?
Yeah. So I did that and I was the only guy to do my job. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no one else they had to do that. And I noticed how like what I was doing for the show, how important it was. And I think they noticed that, and they also noticed my energy and my vibe, and I just showed up. I always showed up. I was always available. I was always hardworking. I was working 18-hour days sometimes. And the casting director for Big Fish, which is the company that the production company that produces these shows, she was like, wow, like dude, like you work hard, you know your stuff, you're talented, and you have a personality to be party. And she's like, your personality is absolutely for television. So one thing led to another. We went to a tattoo convention in was it Pasadena? I'm not. Oh yeah, I think it was Pasadena. I'm not sure. Somewhere in Cali. Yeah, somewhere in Cali. And from there, she was like, look, when I get back to New York, we gotta meet. We gotta talk. And she set up a Skype interview with me, and from there I did a bunch of those, and the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? They just love my idea. They love my personality and my story. And
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Being around that type of environment that you was gonna get picked up so quick. We grew up with you. You always had a
Great personality.
Great personality.
Always out there.
exuberant. I just say, let's just make it sound good. It's a little exuberant. No, I get that. I feel like I've always been a little bit of a wild child. A lot of it.
But you balanced it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you know, speaking about like, you know, growing up, I think, you know, we all come from ACLA, we all come from, you know, the same kind of environment and the same kind of people taught us how to be who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, it did play a huge role in who I've become. You know what I'm saying? Like just we had people around us who cared enough about us to see us kind of
Flourish.
yeah, like learn us
That's true.
and they, you know, figure out what worked best for us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, it really helped me to be who I am, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for like have been in that school, and I think that look at us now. I mean, look at us, all of us now.
Mhm.
I think we all kind of carry that same like demeanor. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So it's dope.
So Mike, yeah, you talked a lot about what inspired you to get into doing tattooing as an artist.
But
So, and then you gave very deep, profound answers as to why you wanted to continue like that form of artwork.
Right.
So I wanted to know like who inspired you, like to have that character that you have, to think the way that you think. Like who do you feel like was the biggest influence?
oh, absolutely, my mom. My mom, she's a single mother. She's a single parent,
And it's a birthday today.
It's
Shout
her
out to
birthday
mom.
today.
Happy birthday.
yeah, she, you know, my dad was never around. He was, you know, in and out of prison my entire life. And she held it down. And I think that what was really instrumental was she supported me in any one of my decisions. I mean, even going to ACLA was my decision, and she was up and ready to go with me wherever I need to go. And even to this day, there was a lot of moments leading to this. There was a lot of moments leading to this that, you know, she wasn't so sure of what I was going to do next. And she was like, I don't know. I feel like you need to do something because you keep telling me this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But she never forced me in any direction. She always just supported me and just taught me how to be a listener. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was instrumental in like pushing me to.
Can I have one follow up real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talked about, you know, that you had 18-hour days and that you had to really push to get more out of it. I think a lot of people struggle with keeping that motivation when they're working so hard all the time, in and out, day in and out. So what, like, would you give advice to other people as a way to keep themselves motivated, or what kept you motivated to keep working that hard for that long until you got to where you're at?
I see a life in my head that I wanted for myself and my family, and that's really as easy as it was for me. Until I'm there, I'm not gonna stop. And I'm not there yet, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like I have a great opportunity in front of me, but even still in my mind, what am I gonna do with this now to like push me further? So it's just always been that grind mindset, you know what I'm saying? And again, just looking at the representation I had around me, even my peers, just watching people like Andy push as hard as he has, and you know, just staying focused on what he loves. You know, fucking James always working on his music. He never stopped. I've seen this dude in the cafeteria writing rhymes, and Henna always took it. I mean, he focused on he wanted to serving his country, and he did that. I mean, shit, we all talked about serving our country. Right. We didn't all do that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you know, I think the representation that I've had around me, from peers to family members to teachers, you know what I'm saying, I think has always been a motivating, one. So I think.
Yo, what's a day in the life on set?
Oh,
Black Ink Crew, like. I know it's a lot of wild shit.
Yeah, so it is very much what you see. So what people find it hard to believe is okay.
Like, do you study a script?
No, that's the thing. It is not a script. People imagine that this thing is scripted. It's really not. It really is, okay, what's happening in your life right now? Well, this is happening in my life right now. Oh, okay, you want to talk about it? Yeah, let's talk about it. Oh, camera's up. You know what I'm saying? Oh. So that's how, you know what I'm saying? That's as real as it is. And of course, they have to maybe, adjust something in terms of, okay, you have to organize it where, okay, you want to talk about this, but you kind of said something that you probably shouldn't have said. You gave something up too early. Repeat that, take that out. You know what I'm saying? But it's all authentic, you know what I'm saying? Stories. This is real life. And people find it hard to believe, because like, how are you getting all of this like craziness all into 1 hour? That's not possible. Nobody's life is that crazy.
Cut it, right?
Nobody's life is that crazy. We have been filming for months. So they take many months of film and y'all get it comprised into this 1 hour, and they're like, oh my God, this is crazy. That's not real. No, it's very real. It's TV magic. They take all the juiciest parts of what's happening in our real life and they put it into this one episode, and then it's insane. It's literally insane. So but it's day to day. It's like this. We get together. We're in a shop. We're working, or we're talking to each other. We're literally giving each other advice, or we're talking about stuff that actually is happening in each other's lives, and conversation happens, and roles and situations just occur. It's real.
So when you're watching the episode and you look back at a clip, you're like, I didn't say it like that. That's not what I meant. So I didn't mean it like that.
Right. So there's editing, and the truth is that sometimes you might have said something.
Yeah.
And maybe the edit,
like sound bites.
Right. Maybe the edit makes it seem a little bit different.
Yeah.
But that was the conversation. You know what I'm saying? They edited it in a way that is going to appeal most to the viewers. You know what I'm saying? So it still has to be entertaining. It's authentic, but it has to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. And also, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we have to come together on a story. You know what I'm saying? And maybe maybe you want to give me some advice, but you don't know exactly what you want to say to me or how you want to approach it. So sometimes we'll talk about that, you know what I'm saying? And just to be conscious of each other's feelings and things like that. But sometimes they don't give a fuck. Honestly, I don't know if I can curse right now, but yeah. So sometimes they really don't care.
This is HBO.
This shit is real. Look, no, it's real. It's real. This is real life. This is really happening in our lives, and you know what I'm saying? Some things do seem exaggerated because it has to. We have to be livened up a little bit because we are still catering to an audience. You know what I'm saying? Right. But it's very real. So just the day in the life of set is not really a typical like what people would imagine a movie set is like. Where you got a script in front of you, you got to read this shit. I walk on the set how I walk on the set. I might want to get drunk. I'm drunk now. That's all the way a problem. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. You know how many times in these scenes I've been drunk as fuck and I'm just like, yeah, I don't remember how this happened, but I believe it. Like, I believe y'all, VH1, like, y'all real for this, because I know I had to do this shit. I might not remember because we was all the way gone, but that's just what, that's life.
It's your real life.
It's life. It's really life.
Is there anything about Bushwick that prepared you to be on this TV show?
Oh.
Like the partying that we did back in the day, hanging out?
Absolutely, all of it. I mean, I think that it takes a certain kind of person to come from a certain, a certain lifestyle to be able to handle this kind of like pressure.
Attention.
Because it is a lot of pressure, because you literally have to be open to talk about things that some people just aren't okay to talk about.
Yeah.
I literally talk about everything. Literally, and I'm open with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, last episode I was just, all the way naked, all the way, on national television. And I think that not everybody's okay with doing that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's okay. She's so crazy. She's too much. Or maybe that's just who she is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's plenty of people. We all got somebody like Sky or like myself or like Donna in their own family.
Certainly.
You know what I'm saying? But they just don't got a camera on them. But I'm sure there's been plenty of moments in your own lives that you like, yo, if there was a camera recording this, I swear to God. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we did. They literally decided, they said, you know what, these people, it started with, C's and all of them, and it's just like, yo, these people are crazy. Let's put a camera up. And now he's got a production company behind it with a major network behind it, and that's all it is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Word.
I'm getting a little personal.
Sure.
Being as headstrong as you are, when you came out about your sexual orientation,
Mm-hmm.
what type of struggles did you endure?
Oh,
with your
wow.
peers, with your family?
Wow, yeah. See, so that's what I try to stress this as much as possible, because people, I just had to respond to a comment today that like somebody said something like, imagine waking up or finding your dad and finding out that he likes guys. And I'm just like, wow. Imagine having a parent teach their kids that kind of ignorance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which is way worse.
Right.
Yeah.
See, because my thing is like, you imagine that there's parents who really behave that way and speak like that in front of their children and make it that much harder for that kid who's already struggling with something that they're not aware of, they're not sure of what that really means. And now they don't even feel comfortable to come to the person that's supposed to be their protector, their
Exactly.
guardian. You see what I'm saying? So imagine what it feels like to go through that and be so unsure of yourself and like, I mean, it's something that you have to deal with. People think you wake up and it's like a decision. Like I woke up in Brooklyn in the projects and was like, you know what? You know what might make my life a little bit harder? I might just like guys to just make my life harder. Because that's really what it is. People don't realize that it makes it tougher in this society right now to come out to like the same sex, especially in a hood like we grew up in. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that was accepted because of the cultural ideologies that have been passed down, from generation to generation. And
Love that?
it's super unfortunate to imagine that like we still deal with that. We still deal with that. Our parents have been taught something and then they teach us something, and then we don't know how to deal with our own life issues. Fortunately enough, I was able to handle it. I was able to come to terms with it, make my own decisions about it, and then be able to talk to my mom about it and have her be extremely supportive and loving and caring, and that just empowered me more to love myself.
How about your peers? Like, were you supported by your peers? Did you lose friends? How was that?
I feel like for the most part, I've been extremely supported by my peers. Like, I remember the first person I told was Franklin. You know what I'm saying? And which is my best friend.
You guys been best friends since?
Yeah.
Forever.
And a lot of that relationship derives from my ability to be free and open and honest with somebody and not be judged.
Right. Yes.
So
That's a true friendship, though.
right. You know what I'm saying? And I think that again, it's even different because I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know his parents' views on homosexuality or anything, of that nature. Like, I don't know their views on it. But like most, Black and Latino families, it's not something that is just,
It's not highly accepted.
it's not really
People are
accepted,
open to
you know what I'm
it.
saying? And
That didn't have to change his views.
it didn't.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it goes back to who we are as individuals and who our representation was growing up.
Yeah.
we were taught to be individual thinking people. You see what I'm saying? And I think it helped him to accept me and me to accept myself. And I just have to take it back to there's so many kids now, before and now, that have a hard time with this, who still have to deal with people being ignorant and insensitive and uneducated to the situation, so they have their own,
Ideology.
their own like preconceived notions that were like literally taught to them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're not even thinking or having their own opinion on things. It's all about, what they already know. And it makes it harder for these kids to accept themselves. And so many kids have killed themselves. And the truth is, that's something that will continue to happen if we don't change. Like,
The way we talk about
yeah, like we have to have a different rhetoric. We have to be able to say things to our youth to make them feel comfortable with whoever they may be. Because we can't keep losing people because we can't empathize with them. We can't be compassionate. You see what I'm saying? And I think if we teach our kids now to about homosexuality, about different cultures, about different religions, you know what I'm saying, and how to be compassionate and understanding and accepting, then the next generation of people don't have to deal with what we've dealt with. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So yeah, I mean,
Let me ask you a curveball question, I guess, just to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
So you mentioned you didn't grow up without your dad,
hmm
and you mentioned that kind of like said, it's not like I just woke up like this one day.
right.
Do you think not having a dad had any influence on that a little bit?
Absolutely not, because my older brother, has a different father from mine, and his father just came out of prison from doing 28 years in prison. So my brother has never ever known his dad outside of going to see him in prison, just like I did. And my brother is extremely heterosexual and extremely, opposite of me in sexual preference. And yeah, so we was raised by the same mother in the same circumstances, the same environment.
Yeah.
And
It just happened
he's
to be.
straight and I'm not. You see what I'm saying? And I just that's for me was something that made me feel better. I could see my brother who's had the same situations in life as I had, the same setup, the same environment, and he's interested in women 100%. There is no swaying
to
this.
blame.
Yeah,
This is how you are.
I really there's nothing like outstanding that happened in my life or I've had as a representation for me to like feel this way. Shit, I'm probably more tough than half the people I know. You see what I'm saying? Like, and the funny thing is being around certain people, a lot of my friendships are authentically friendships. I hate this idea that, if somebody's interested in men, automatically they're interested in every man around them. I'm sorry. Not every girl's interested in you, brother.
Yeah.
So that means me either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's pretty like
Everybody
arrogant
has a
of
type.
people to think like, oh, I don't want to be around me. You might try it. No, nobody tries it with you. Nobody's interested. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for me, it was just something I had to deal with. I wasn't, dude, I had nights where I cried. I cursed God. Why? Why do I feel like this? Why? Why am I thinking this way? And then finally I was like, fuck it. I like guys. Fuck it. I don't care. Well, listen, I've had plenty of, I
That
like
was
women
my
too.
next question.
I-
Are you strictly with men or?
No, hell no. Listen to me. I've had plenty of, women. I've had girlfriends. I've listened to me. Listen to me. I love women. I do. I love women. Like, literally, it's
people.
I love, that's the thing, and that's what I try to explain to people. I love humans. I think that there's a certain thing for me that maybe, I don't know what it is. It sounds freaky when I say it like that. I just love
it
everybody.
sounds
Like, I don't mean it like that. It's just, I just like, for me,
dogs.
everybody for me, I feel like can deliver an interesting personality or have something physically attractive about them that I could be into. You see what I'm saying? I mean, nothing's off the table. No one's off the table. You see what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's about the vibe, the energy I get, and just, let me tell you something. There's some people who can just make you feel it. Like, just can make you get...
It's the chemistry. It's really the
Yeah,
chemistry.
you never dance with somebody and like,
And it's, yeah,
I
facts.
all the way want to marry you right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just made me feel something. I wasn't. You go talk to your wife about it. Fuck, I don't know. She fucked you all the way up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just some people can do it. Some people can just tag you like that. So for me, I never limited myself. And I think that if anything, I have more fun than you. You limit yourself to messing with one sex. I have a lot of it. I can have whoever I want in terms of like, I'm not limiting myself. You know what I'm saying? I think that's amazing. I think that my opportunity for love is greater as well.
So what's your type? If you had to like describe your ideal type, what is your
Ooh,
type?
that's crazy because I've been with different types of women and different types of men. I mean, I've been involved with, short, really thick women. I've been involved with like, taller, slender model type women, you see what I'm saying? Like, or what a model is, projected to look like. I've been involved with, light-skinned men, dark-skinned men. I've been involved with all sorts of different people. I think that, again, it's really the energy. Because I've talked to somebody who was beautiful physically. And I don't feel anything. Like, I'm just like, my dick don't move, shoot. Like, you're not doing it for me.
Yo, bro.
You're not doing it for me.
Say whatever you want.
No, for real, you're not doing it for me. You feel me? So like, you ever been in a conversation with a man
Oh,
who was
1,000 times.
gorgeous, but it was just empty as fuck?
Yeah.
That's how it is for me. So the truth is that I've had somebody who maybe has
And
not.
that's boring.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Listen to me. I need spice.
Yes.
I need you to make me feel crazy.
Yes.
Like I don't know. I'm a real passionate. I'm an Aries. I don't know. People always say, "Oh, you're an Aries. That's why you're passionate." I'm extremely passionate. I love passion. Like, make me feel. You know what I'm saying? Like something, and you got me. You know what I'm saying? Like we could move all night. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, the physical is, I guess, maybe the this way you start the conversation maybe. But again, that physical has changed from person to person.
Pretty sure we all agree here that's a fact. We're very happy that you're at peace with being yourself.
Absolutely, man.
So
I'm thrilled.
yeah.
Couldn't be happier.
We're gonna go to the first music break,
Yeah.
and we'll be right back with Mike AC. Yeah.
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 That's a fact.
Y'all are funny.
I want to shout out our two co-sponsors, Kono Natalie Real Estate
Kono Natal.
and La Nueva Esperanza.
Shout out to Annette, okay?
Shout out. Thank
For the
you.
co-sponsorships, making this show run another season for us.
And shout out to City Subs.
City Subs is about to bless us
About to
right
bless
now
us.
with some sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
We all about to have dinner on City Subs. Shout out to Thomas.
That was funny because I just thought about something really crazy in my.
Shout out to Taino
That's
Body.
mine. That's mine. Where's the other one?
Ooh.
The one that was up there. You put it to charge. My
Shout out
fault,
to
I interrupted
shout out
the
to Taino Body too.
That's right. Shout out to Taino Body for
Right, I need you to get me right, man. I need my shit
I
today.
got you. Before you come, got you.
I need my shit.
I got body butters, body
Tell them how you
scrubs.
make it.
How you make it? I don't know how you make it.
I'm making myself right
Same
here.
season one joke. Tell them how you make it.
Yeah, they was teasing me saying that I step on everything myself.
Steps on
like it's wine.
Yo,
The slogan is put your foot in it.
that's funny.
Actually, no, the slogan is no te duermas.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Hashtag no
Don't
te
sleep.
duermas. Don't sleep.
Yo, yeah, oh yeah. I hear it.
We're trying to
I'm about to
blow
make,
it
I'm
up.
about to make t-shirts.
Yo, who phone it is?
That's that's mine.
You popular. That's crazy.
DJ J Styles, yo, shout out to J Styles for putting this all together.
Thank you.
Right.
Shout out to
Shout out to my co-host for being a great co-host. Thank you, man. Let's get back to Mike AC. We're gonna play a little game, personality test. We're all gonna give him 2 words each. First thing that pops in his head. This should be funny. Let's start. You wanna start it off, Bella?
I just give one word first, right?
1 word first, yeah.
Alright, flavor.
You know my response spicy. You know it's I like spicy.
Cucumber.
Oh no. Y'all seen the challenge in the party, they was doing the stuff with it. Listen, you say cucumber, I love cucumbers because they fresh and they like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love
for
them.
your eyes.
Yeah, but it just obviously.
First thing that pops in your head, no
It
cap.
resembles a
cap.
dick, my man. Instantly, I'm just like, oh shit, penises. Yeah.
No capping, no capping.
No, but it's just, I do like cucumbers, but then I say I like cucumbers, it's just cliche. Oh, you like cucumbers, huh?
Handle
Right? You like
Handle knows
that?
what he's doing when he asks.
Yeah, you like cat. It's an eggplant. No,
$5 football, man.
You didn't see how excited I was when you said Subs was coming?
Oh, that's what it
That's
was.
why I laughed. What the fuck? Oh, how big?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Oh, that's home. That's
Home.
home all the way.
That's the answer I want to hear.
Yes, sir.
Community.
Oh, that's extremely important to me. I think that's for me. Can I say wrong responsibly?
Yeah.
For
Yes,
me,
sir.
community is huge. It's important to me because we're gonna get into like the census and we're gonna get into politics and all that stuff. But what's important to me about community is that I've seen so many abandoned buildings growing up that were abandoned for years that are no longer abandoned and they're owned by somebody that don't live here. When we could have done that.
Yo, that
We could have,
talking about
as a
that last
community, come together and do that, but we weren't involved enough. We weren't paying attention enough, and I
It's
think
not too
that
late. It's not too late.
it's not too late. But I think we got to get on the ball. So I think as a when you say community, that just hits home for me. Like we need to get together for real.
Okay.
My turn.
Yeah.
All right,
Ladies
faith.
first.
Faith.
Yeah, faith.
I think faith for me, when I hear faith, I just think it's my strength. You see what I'm saying? My faith in myself, my faith in God, my faith in you know the power I have, you know, to create my future. You see what I'm saying? I think faith for me is what keeps me going for sure.
Yeah, I got faith tattooed across the belly. But
Tupac.
fashion is
Fashion.
the word,
That's one of my first loves, and one of you know something that's extremely important to me. It's something I want to pursue. But I think fashion is extremely important to me because it allows me to it's from the beginning. It always allowed me to be me.
yeah. It's just part of the culture.
For sure, and like the thing is now, even when I wasn't so comfortable with being myself, I was able to wear things that were a little bit like different and just call it fashion. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, oh, I just kind of wanted to be a little bit feminine today, but I can't really say that when I was confused
Okay.
or worried.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Mm.
Oh,
Good ass word, great word.
extremely good word. I mean, it means, that word just means so many different things for me. I
Coming
mean,
from a patriot. Now,
right, there you go. Thank you. No, but I think freedom for me, it's a huge word because I feel free to be me, and I think that I've given myself that freedom. But I
Nobody
think,
else can give you that freedom.
right, but I think freedom also is huge because I feel like we don't have enough of it, or as much as we think we do.
Exactly.
And I think that it's important that, you know what I'm saying, again, I'm really excited, you know, that you're consistently involved in politics because, I mean, I think that that's what we need. We need more people from where we from making changes, making differences because when you put people, especially, I mean, even in law enforcement, when you put people from outside of our communities in our communities to protect our communities, how much protection do we really have? They can't resonate with us. They can't reason with us. We need people who's going to pull us off the edge and not push us off it. You see what I'm saying? And I think that it's important to really get people like us in office and caring about politics and talking to our youth about politics enough that they care about it so that we can get people involved and in office that are us, that can make better decisions so that we are at some point really, really free.
Right, that's true. You know what's crazy is that I'm a big believer in God. I'm a very spiritual person. But if you notice what happened, I had a word already in mind, right? And this is how crazy God works, right?
But
Faith, fashion, freedom, all F words, right?
Right.
My word was future. Look at all that.
See what we
So,
doing?
right, so you see how that, you see how
Very good.
how that came, like, and
Yeah.
when he said freedom, I was like, this can't be
there's
real.
no coincidence.
This can't be real.
There's no coincidences
I didn't
here.
do that on purpose.
No, I know, but I know that I know this thing because I was paying attention,
That's
but
crazy.
I already have future in mind as soon as I said community. I said community and future, you know,
Right.
and it just goes with the conversation. But then the way that just happened, I was like,
And it all
you
rolled
can't.
in the
I
conversation.
swear I was gonna say love, so it made me say freedom.
I got a bonus word. It's actually 2 words. Dance hall reggae.
Brother, I grew up on it. You know that.
Hanson and all this shit.
Talk that on.
Hit him with the Jamaican
Vegas.
horn.
Yo, legit, no. We'll come back to the dance, but for future though, like you said, it's huge for you to have, you know, gotten to there from this because I think they all go hand in hand, especially just my responses to those things all reflect a future that I really want for us as a people. And I think what's crazy is, I try to say this all the time, for our future, the moment we are able to stop living in, like living in labels and start living in love, we'll be better tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? As a people, I think we are so confined to labeling each other. Like, I mean, whether it be sexuality or it's like, you know what I'm saying, the color of your skin, your heritage or whatever. I mean, we separate ourselves so much. And then we hate the fact that we're separated.
Right.
We hate the fact that we're so, you know, we have this idea of, you know, being oppressed and, you know, always considering that someone else is doing better than us and we're the lesser of. And it's just like, the truth is we are the majority. Colored people are the majority, you see what I'm saying? We just are minorities because we separate ourselves into these little factions.
Yeah.
When we could just come together and we'd be huge.
Yeah.
All the way around, we
Perfect
just,
segue for our census conversation.
yeah, we need to just be one people, you know what I'm saying? So I'm excited. Help us be one people, you know what I'm saying? I just love all people, be one people, and separate yourself from, you know, stop separating yourself from each other. We are literally, I mean,
The
bro,
same
pain and happiness looks the same and feels the same
to all of us.
for all of us. So I always try to say that to somebody when you're gonna say a hurtful comment, and you may not feel like it really affects you because you may not be living that life that that person is living, but you have felt pain in your life. So imagine that pain you felt. Imagine how it feels,
To offend the other person.
and connect with that person on that level. You may have nothing else in common with them, but emotions you do.
Definitely.
So we just need to realize that we are literally one energy and we feel these things. We feel. That's the one thing we all do. We feel. Like, and I hate the idea that we could hurt each other so easily.
Yeah.
Without any concern, without any like thought of how it felt to be that.
In that pain, no, sure.
But yeah,
That's what we call that's a fact.
that's a fact. That's a whole fact.
And thank you for coming. You've been a great guest. First
Yeah,
session is
y'all for having
amazing.
Thank you for coming, bro.
Thank you.
Yo, we gonna do this again, and I wish y'all luck. I'm going to thank you. Thank you so much.
Somebody, that was Mike AC again. Mike AC.
check him out on Instagram.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, let me say. Okay, go ahead. Let me say one thing. Look, I have to say this. Tune in every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Alright, Black and Cool New York VH1. Alright, y'all tune in.
Where can people find you? Like, what's your platforms?
My Instagram is MikeAC_, but you can type in Mike AC pretty much anywhere and it should pop up. My Twitter is MikeACX. So yeah, the Mike AC kind of name will kind of get you where you.
Are you doing any appointments for tattoos?
I am. Just email me. It's my email is bookmikeac at gmail.com, and yeah, just that's my tattoo, and I got my system will like respond to you as quick as they can. So my team is great. Appreciate y'all.
Do you just, because we normally like to ask this and I forgot to ask, any projects that you're working on in the future that you want to talk about and mention?
I mean, again, y'all heard it throughout this entire conversation. The most important thing to me right now is our youth. So I'm teaming up with a lot of like youth empowerment companies and other like reality TV stars, like Jonathan from Love and Hip Hop, Yandy Smith from Love and Hip Hop.
Nice.
We're trying to get together. You know, they've been going to different schools already. They want to add me to that roster, and I'm doing a lot of just for me. The focus is, getting to our youth, being a support system for them, but also being, a difference in information. Like we got to teach them.
That's
different.
very important too.
So I just want them to see a different version of, what they might have seen. A lot of kids look at, oh shit, homosexuality as this like certain kind of like look. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, so I feel like seeing me for a lot of these kids is like, oh, I could be that he looks like me, you know what I'm saying? So maybe it's okay to be me, you know what I'm saying? It's okay because he's being accepted, people love him, so people will love me too. So I just want to really be
Is there a name for that initiative that you guys are doing?
Right now we're still working on creating like a name and all that, at least
Okay.
from my end. As far as what Jonathan and them are doing, I'm not really sure yet. We're still in conversation about it. But yeah,
That's
I'll
yours.
let y'all know what's going on. But the focus is the youth and the kids and getting to them, you know what I'm saying? So appreciate y'all so much.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for having us.
But it's really everything, right? So it's the New York State Senate, it's the New York State Assembly, it's the New York City Council, and other lower bodies. So the data that is compiled through the census is used every 10 years to redraw all the political lines around the nation. So which is the next step of the census is redistricting, and that's what the process is called, or reapportionment, which you know well. these boring words.
Right.
Um,
It's reapportionment is a boring word, but that's an important
it's
word,
key.
right? What is reapportionment?
It really it divides political power, right? So it creates these political districts based on what are called communities of interest.
Mm-hmm.
So are there enough Jewish people in this district? There's a lot of Dominicans in that district. Let's try to put them together. Are there communities along the M line that may have the same problem? So let's put them together. So the census data, it's really what gives us that information so that we go ahead and draw districts that make sense, that puts people together in a way that makes sense politically. So it breaks down political power.
Right. And in turn, then there's also resources as well, right?
Absolutely.
That's how we decide
Right.
what communities get
Right,
what
yeah.
resources in a sense, right?
Yeah, like I said before, $73.3 billion annually are allocated to New York State based on the data in the census.
So it's important for people to go out and fill out the census.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never did that much research on the census. I didn't know there was that much responsibility. I always thought it was just a head count.
Yeah.
But thank you for informing me.
Yeah. It is a head count. It is a
No,
head
I
count
know, but
that-
there's more
yeah.
behind it. You know, I just always thought it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean?
No, it's again, it's about funds and it's about political power.
Now, one of the things I remember you talking about in the meeting the other day was that specifically with Latino families, we tend to not count our kids.
Yes.
And so if you have a Latino family with 4 kids, they only put the husband or the wife, usually it's a single household,
Right.
so
The
they'll just
adult.
put themselves, right?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
what's the effect of that?
Yeah, so it's a real problem. Around 400,000 Latino children were not counted in the 2010 census. 21,000 only in New York, the state of New York, 6,000 in Brooklyn, 6,000 in Manhattan. What it means is that for the purposes, again, of allocating that political power and those funds, there's 21,000 Latino children in the state of New York that were not counted. 21,000 kids that went to school, probably received WIC, probably received some sort of Head Start education, which we paid for as taxpayers, but yet they didn't make part of the count. So it's almost like they're invincible. Our report is called the invisible ones, in why we missed the 400,000 Latino children.
That's
last
a
time around.
big number too.
Yeah. So we have our census awareness campaign in Leo, called Hágase Contar, Make Yourself Count. And we have a sub-campaign to bring light to what we were just talking about, called Hazme Contar, Make Me Count. And it's just we don't know sociologically yet why Latinos are more prone than any other group to not count their children under the age of 5. But it is something that, again, out of the almost 2 million children that were not counted in the 2010 census, 400,000 were Latino. So our community is more prone to not count their kids. And we don't know why yet. We're just sort of reminding people that you have to count them as soon as they're born.
No. Juan, 1 comment and 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, just a comment that I don't think any of us here find anything you're saying boring, so please don't say that.
I think
Do
everybody's
not say that.
learning is more than
Yeah.
anything else.
None of us find your comments boring, and for those in the community who find it boring, they need to get out of that mindset, because this is so important for us to know. So don't even say that, because it's crucial that people start to understand how this works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they need to get away from that it's boring, and realize that it's important.
Yes.
And my 2 questions for you. 1 question is, can you kind of go over what are the negatives of not being counted, and like the positives of being counted, right? So when we show like our actual population numbers, what are the pros and cons of that? And the second question is, how do you think the census is going to be affected this year with ICE and all the undocumented people? Because there's a big, strong fear now that they don't want to be counted. They don't want to be known that they're here because they're undocumented, and they are fearing the repercussions and how that's going to affect our Latino community.
Great. That's a great.
Yeah, so those are really important questions. So I think the negative effects of not being counted is that the data that the government uses to give resources and allocate political power is skewed, right? It's a little false, because that means that you're missing people, right? If you're missing those 21,000 children, Latino children, that's 21,000 lives that needed those government services, those benefits, and the political power that data didn't show that they're there, right? For example, public schools get this money, it's called Title I funding from the federal government. Title I funding is based on census data, so how many families are in this census tract, which we know that the minimum income is $24,000. So that money that data is used. Then the federal government says, okay, this school on this block deserves this amount of money in Title I funding. This is one small little program of the many that are affected by census data. And the other, again, is political representation, right? It's estimated that if the state of New York doesn't get a good count, if people don't get counted, we may lose 2 congressional seats, right? So when New York needs money, for example, there was a big push to get health services for 9/11 survivors and for 9/11 first responders.
Right.
If it wasn't for the New York delegation pushing hard across years and years of advocacy,
And Jon Stewart.
and Jon Stewart, right, but he didn't have a vote, so let's concentrate on the vote in the House. But if our congressional delegation were to get together and say this is important for New York, it wouldn't have happened, right? And so we're slated to lose 2 next year because people are moving out of New York State, etc. So it's important that for whoever is here on or around April 1st to be counted. Now to your following question, we, Analeo, understand we work with the Census Bureau both as a partner and as a watchdog. So we help the Census Bureau sort of understand how to best message the Latino community across the nation, and we're also a watchdog. So when they're not being funded adequately, when they're not putting enough field offices out there, we speak up, right? For example, this is the first census that's going to be predominantly online. So there's a big push by the Census Bureau to get people to answer their census forms online instead of a paper questionnaire like in the olden days. People are still going to have access to the paper questionnaires, but it's not going to be readily available. What the government's going to do is push for people to go online and fill out the form. But for example, there were no real tests of the systems that are going to be used, right? The Census Bureau, when it's going to the 10th decennial census, they do 3 field tests, 2 in a just normal area and 1 in a rural area to figure out what are the issues that need to be addressed before the census. This time around, we got 1 field test in Providence County, Rhode Island. So Providence County, Rhode Island, apparently is representative of the whole nation, and the way that the bureau is going about their work is based on the results of that field test in Rhode Island, and not even Rhode Island, Providence County, Rhode Island. So we are a watchdog. The CEO of NALEO, Arturo Vargas, sat until July on one of the advisory panels around race and ethnicity and how to address that in census. So from that perch, we've been a watchdog to them. Getting back to your question about the fear, right, and the confusion. So because the federal government, the Commerce Department, which is the department where the Census Bureau lives, decided to institute a citizenship question in March of last year, at the very last minute of creating the census forms, there was a lot of confusion created. Now the Supreme Court said no, that the Commerce Department cannot write a citizenship question on the census questionnaires, so this census is not going to have that. The confusion and the after effect is still out there.
Right.
So we want people to understand, specifically Latinos, to understand that the census, first of all, is protected by Title 13 of the United States Code, Penal Code. Census workers are obligated to take an oath that they will protect, safeguard the information that they collect. That information cannot be shared with other government agencies. And the census data is not, is only done for the effect of statistical data. So we report statistics, we really don't report, the census doesn't really report waste of life. So, right, it's not gonna say who's documented, who's not. It only says, Maria and her 3 children and her mother live in this census tract, which are mostly like a few blocks of the city.
Well, and I would assume too, because it's online, people should be less afraid of is it ICE or is it the census coming to my door? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
You have that chance to just get it out the way and do it
Right.
online now.
And I would love to get a little bit into the question of how the census is going to work, if I'm allowed. So on and around March 12th, the second week of March, people are going to get a package in their mail urging them to go fill out the census form online. 2 weeks from there, they get another reminder in the mail saying, hey, we sent you this, please go online and fill it out. The third one, there's going to be a third one 2 weeks after that. And then finally, on or around April 27th, there's going to be one final reminder, letting people know to fill out the questionnaire. That last reminder is actually going to contain the paper questionnaire that you could fill out and mail back to the Census Bureau. After that last week of April, the beginning of May, people are going to be visited at home by census workers called enumerators. Because of what Bella just described, the fear, the confusion around stepped up immigration enforcement, we assume that Latino families, Latino communities are going to be reluctant to open the door to a government employee, right? So we're really urging Latinos to self-respond. Self-respond is when you go and fill it out yourself without someone coming to your house. I will digress a little bit and say that actually in the last census, the national average of self-response, I mean people who filled it out before someone came to their house, was 76% of people. In the borough of Brooklyn, that was 55%. So Brooklyn had the lowest self-response rate than any other borough in New York City. But also any other county in the state of New York, the lowest self-response rate. So we're urging Brooklynites, I'm so glad to be here today because of that, we're urging Brooklynites to self-respond. They have a month from March 12th to the end of April, well over a month, to go to a library, go to a child's school. If you hopefully have a computer at home, you can fill it out. The city is rolling out a huge investment in making sure that the libraries are equipped to help people fill out the census, the schools are equipped to fill out the census. They're also going to be rolling out an organizing mechanism based on the Obama for America campaign of 2008, which are going to be called Neighborhood Organizing Census Corps. KNOX is the acronym. But they want neighborhoods to come together themselves and talk to other neighbors about filling out the census form.
I would just also mention too, like with the fear situation. I'm not going to mention who said it, but I remember one time when I was in Georgetown, there was a congressperson that said if the federal government wants to know where somebody is, they're going to find that person. So it's almost to be afraid that if you sign something, they're gonna come look for you. It's just, to me, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, we should think of Latinos and minorities as a group and realize that us filling this out is impacting all of us as opposed to thinking about it individually.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you mentioned, we may lose 2 seats of Congress.
Right.
And you can almost guarantee it'll probably be a person of color that's gonna lose a seat. You know what I mean? So it's like, why would we lose our political representation?
Right. And for New York City, that is right. If we do lose 2 seats or 1 seat in Congress,
it's gonna come from New York.
Then the conversation is, does it come from upstate or does it come from downstate, right? So downstate, we need to go hard, right? So Brooklyn, that 55% really needs to be an 80% this time around. It is online, which makes it easier. There's also going to be a phone line that the Census Bureau will capacitate so people can answer through the phone, and they could also just wait out for the 4th reminder and get that paper form if they such prefer. Some people like to do official stuff on paper, so a lot of the older Latinos. So,
we're gonna take it over to our second music break. And we have a lot more questions for you when we come back. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We have a little bit of
Alright, welcome back to That's a Fact. Here again with our last interviewee, CHS Mills. Everybody give a round of applause for CHS Mills.
They're making horns for the sandwiches. Let me some gunshots for the sandwiches.
That's too much. That's too much.
I know you got that though.
Too raw stuff. But I want to say something about this kid. Very talented. Very talented. Tell them how old you are.
19.
19 years old. Talent. Amazing. This kid is going to be amazing. He's already amazing. So when he gets to his 20s, 25, 23, he's going to... I got high hopes for him. I know he's gonna be in the industry.
Wow, we've been rocking to his music the whole season
all
one.
day, the whole season.
And I
one
just-
was
I-
playing his music.
I ain't even know. I'm thinking I'm listening to like a superstar already. You know
Yeah,
what
he
I
told
mean?
me, man. He asked me one day. He was like, "Yo, you playing the radio, right?" I was like, "Nah, nigga, this is my man's." Like, facts.
It's dope,
But,
dope.
yeah, I always talked about you, and now we get the chance to have a face to face and see what you're about. You know what I mean? So let's start it off. Yeah, that's a fact. We always get to the origin story. Where you from? Tell the people where you from.
East New York, Brooklyn.
East
man.
New York, Brooklyn, baby.
So
That's-
Brooklyn, shout out to Casanova.
Shout out to Casanova. Oh, so maybe we might put you on that I'm So Brooklyn beat. Maybe we might do that. Let's see what we can do to that. But yeah, how was it growing up? Where you from, man? What got you into music? What type of struggles did you endure that made you resort to music?
I could say maybe my, like, growing up, listening to different music. Like, to be honest, what I really remember, like, when I think about old music I grew up on, it would be like, I could say, like, I remember hearing like T-Pain,
Okay,
Chris Brown.
those are some of your
Oh, like the
influences.
auto
I wouldn't, like, that's what, like, I could say, like, influence, like, it caught my attention to the music, you know? So, like, I mean, like,
Because those two people that you mentioned are very influential.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people can say that they looked up to those two artists, especially Chris Brown.
That was my college days.
Chris Brown is the man.
Mhm.
Like,
Anything
anything he touches
is
is
a
gold.
hit.
yeah, whole plat.
Facts.
Platinum. Fuck gold.
Is there anything outside of music that influenced you to get into music?
Like your struggles growing up.
I say, I mean, I always loved music growing up, and then actually when I started thinking, like, I want to rap, I was like probably 9 years old. I was like, yeah, I really started writing my first raps in a notebook, and then I finally got in the studio when I was like 15, and I really like started
That's when
recording
you
songs.
noticed you was like, shit, I really want to do this.
Facts, I was like
Yeah.
serious. I started doing open mics, going to different open mics, showing my face.
That's the
And then
grind.
like a year ago,
Build a brand.
I said like, this is what I want to do. This is official.
Yeah.
I dropped my first official EP, The Warm Up. It's out on every streaming software right now.
The warm up.
Tell them a little bit
It's a
about
good name.
the warm-up, because it's the warm up.
That's
It's
a
just
good
getting
name.
Just
started.
heating up.
Facts. Tell them a little bit about your streaming stats, man. How much are you streaming right now collectively?
I'm doing good right now. I could say like all time between Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, I believe. It's,
I saw the numbers. It was like 55,159.
Wow.
To be exact. That's a lot of streams.
it's been about 6 months. I could say
I
7
seen one of your videos on YouTube. You had like what, 10K?
Dreams. It's like 21K right now.
That's big. That's great.
On my
man.
YouTube page, and
Hell yeah.
just taking it step by step, seeing the progress.
Where do you normally perform at? Like, is it Brooklyn based or you?
I'm willing to perform anywhere, to be honest.
Wherever they got you. Right?
What are your influences? You mentioned T-Pain and Chris Brown, but like, where do you get
Your rap
My rap flow.
Style, yeah.
I can say like Meek
Flow.
Mill. I'm a big Meek Mill fan.
Mhm.
Big Meek Mill fan. I can say I honestly at that time too, I was like heavy on like the MMG, Rick Ross. I was
Mhm.
heavy on it. So,
Put me on real quick, cause I listen to a lot of like old shit, like Jada Kidd, you know, D Block, all that classic Rockefeller. Like, what are some up and coming artists that you listen to? Like these young artists, like Pop Smoke, for example.
yeah, I do listen to Pop Smoke. It's definitely from the area.
Yeah,
You know, I see that's right there. Let's see. Yeah, I like the wave that's going on right now. I like it. I mess with
All
movement.
the young cats is blowing up.
Yeah, young too.
And hopefully you in that lineup too.
Yeah,
you definitely got you.
We'll see
You
you
can
on
make it,
like
yeah.
freshman class,
Mhm.
2020 or 2021. Who's like the most influential rapper right now, though? Like, who do you listen to?
Baby.
The Baby,
Oh,
the
the
baby
Baby.
or Baby?
Yo,
The
a
Baby.
lot of people
The
love him
Baby.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
The hood is loving
One
him
of my
right
favorite
now.
lines he said, I used to cheat off of pretty bitches. All the teachers thought I was stupid. That's a hard line right
Yeah.
there. It's a double entendre if you know what that means. I'm not gonna get into it. It's some Jay-Z shit. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's talk about the warm up. How
6 songs.
yeah, 6 songs. Like, how fast did you make that? Like, what was your motivation for making the warm up?
that was the hardest part, to be honest. Like trying to get a name, I had so many like different ideas, and I didn't really know how to attack it. So I kind of I made the songs first, and I was like, I can say I had it for a while, like years. Some songs is old, like a year old,
Yeah.
2 years old.
But they were still hitting.
Yeah,
So.
it was, so I recorded every song, got it mastered. Was able to use United Masters,
Yeah.
distribution company, independent. It's a good opportunity for upcoming artists.
Okay.
So they was able to get my music on every streaming platform.
What is some of your writing
Strategy.
strategies? Yeah, like what are some of your strategies you use to write? What's your formula? What inspires you? What's your motivations to write? What sparks your creativity?
How I'm feeling, my mood.
Your moves.
Yeah, so
Alright.
definitely that's a big part. Like if I'm in a down mode.
If I could even stretch that question further, what kind of moves spark the most creativity out of you? Is it pain? Is it love? Is it hate? What is it?
I like them all, to be honest. They all bring a different side of me out too on the beat, and
So you basically saying you're versatile.
definitely
Very versatile.
I feel like I could do any beat, you know.
I had a question and a comment too. So my question for you is like, you know, a lot of the most iconic artists, they have a certain sound to them. Like, you know, I mean, I'm gonna go old school. Pop has a certain sound. Biggie has a certain sound. They all have a certain sound. If someone asks you to describe your sound, like how would you describe your sound? Like what's unique about your sound as opposed to other artists?
You should really like, I mean, I can say you should really listen to my music. You listen to what I'm talking about. I hope my own mission is to make it where everyone relate to it. Feel what you're saying, where you're coming from.
So you're more of a lyricist? Like, you know, like Travis Scott, like melody, right?
So I try
And then you
to.
got like lyricists, like people like Tech, you know, Classic 6ix9ine, well, when he was out, right? But like, so you're more lyrical?
Mix it. So I try to drag them. I don't want to say my own, like my real technique, but you know, like I could say maybe
A lyricist more than anything else.
not like J. Cole, but I do try to, you know, rhyme, make it sound good,
So it's like lyrics and flow.
and flow. Definitely my flow. That's what I really try to use.
Okay, and comment, so y'all mentioned Pop Smoke earlier, so, and I'm a fan, I like Pop Smoke, but I feel like all his beats sound almost exactly the same.
You got the same flow.
Like, yeah, like every beat is exactly the same. I feel like I'll be listening to his songs, and I feel like instead of listening to an album, I'm listening to one long track. Right? So just try to keep the beats versatile, because I feel like that keeps it's going to keep your audience like, more interested and like captivated with everything you're doing. So keep that in mind.
Yo, what I really want to do and something I want to start from season 2 is, sure, the first topic I want to talk about, I'm talking about 6ix9ine, right?
Yeah. Ratatouille. My son Ratatouille.
Crazy.
What would you do? What would you do?
Well,
I mean, you trying to make your home. You got a daughter.
these are the same people that kidnapped him, tried to kill him, and his daughter and his baby mom.
So
So
basically,
what would you do? It depends on the whole.
It depends on the situation, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I get the whole morals of
The thing
street
is that
code and
6ix9ine is not the
being a
only.
real nigga.
6ix9ine is not the only snitch in this whole.
He's not. There's so many informants in the game that we
He's
don't
just
know
getting
about.
more.
He's getting the burn for it.
Because
getting the
he's
rap for it.
famous.
Exactly. And not that he's famous, he's newly famous. So they're gonna take all that for him before he can build himself up to something great. And he was doing amazing. Had 7 Billboard records.
10.
Back to 10. Was 10? Thank you for correcting me. That's even more amazing. 10 top charts records back to back. This nigga didn't flop.
Who did he snitch on? I don't even know what the story is.
He snitched on
Everybody.
The gang that he was a part of.
Everybody.
Trey, what's
9 Trey.
9 Trey.
Trey.
Yeah. Trey, yeah.
The blood,
And
the
what
bloodshed.
what did he snitch them out about?
The whole organization, like
Yeah.
the whole
Racketeering,
record,
exactly.
money, yeah. He was the money man for the
Yeah. I mean, he played the laundry. He was cleaning
Yeah.
that money
Yeah.
in his career.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, but see what you said earlier about like, oh yeah, he snitched on people who did this and that to him. But it started like that, but then he just started snitching on
But then he
everyone.
started saying
Yeah.
everything.
So it's
Yeah,
just like,
because he wants a
okay.
less sentence.
Yeah, but see, I was defending him at first when it was that. I was like, listen,
Yeah,
these
they
people,
kidnapped him
they
and all
kidnapped
that.
him, they robbed him, they was after him.
I'm telling you.
You don't have no loyalty to them no more. That's it, they already did you dirty.
I'm telling you.
But now he's snitching on everybody.
Now-
Like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Now the memes are ridiculous.
Yo.
The memes are ridiculous. I think there's a new one every day.
Every hour.
What every hour? What's the funniest one you heard, Bella?
Well, for me, because I make coquito every year,
Okay.
and I make it for my office. So there was one that said, the judge is like, "Is there anything else?" And he's like, "Do you know Puerto Ricans make this illegal drink called coquito?" And I was like, "Yo, guys, 6ix9ine snitched on me. I can't make coquito no more." So everybody was dying, but so that was the funniest one for me because touch home.
What's the funniest one you've seen, Andy?
I'm sorry, I'm busy eating
He
still.
said, I just think he's a funny nigga in general.
What you eating right now?
I'm getting that city
City
sub
sub.
sandwich.
That city sub.
Fire.
Followed up city sub _BK. Them sandwiches is amazing.
They were fire.
I
Like, I'm trying to wrap the show up so I can go eat more.
My favorite meal was
That's
the
that.
El Bloque Mío.
That was the funniest
Tiene
one.
una bodega que vende los números.
there's something about 6ix9ine's character and personality that stands out, which I think is what's allowing him to kind of get away with everything right
Besides
now.
his hair color.
Like, I don't know if it's the I don't know if it's the hair color alone. It's definitely the hair
It's the
color.
personality as well.
It's something about him that stands out because I only know one of his songs that he did with a trap star, a Latin trap star,
And what?
with Don Wood. Yeah,
That's the only song you know from him?
yeah. I mean, I'm not into.
You're not a fan.
I'm not like a fan of his as much, but there's something about his personality I think that stands out to me. And I don't know what it is. It's just the only.
He's a hype beast.
Yeah.
He get you hype.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's that.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Because I don't think anybody thought he was lyrical. It was just that when
Right.
his song come on, you want
It's just that
licks.
the
I
vibe
know.
pump. Like
That
that
pump
shit
up,
is
yeah.
like,
This nigga's already screaming. He's angry for something. So I
Yeah.
want to know what he's angry about when his song comes on. The funniest one for me, since we from Brooklyn and Bushwick, they said, yo, they still selling K2 on Broadway and Murder. That shit had me dying, bro.
The irony is, and this is like, you remember that thing that happened with, it was like a face app where it made people look old,
Yes.
and then they were talking about how the Russians now have all your facial data.
oh damn,
The
yeah.
irony with this snitching stuff is that everybody's calling him a snitch, but with all these memes, what's happening is everybody's snitching on what shit that's already happened.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
Yo,
mean?
that's crazy.
That's the whole irony of the entire thing.
I
They're
like
calling
that.
him a snitch,
I like that.
but everybody's just snitching on themselves.
And say, yo, you ever heard of Fire Stick? Aye, boom.
Right.
That's true.
Like, damn.
And that's the society we live in today. You know, it's just
It's
it's
a
a very
joke.
ironic society.
Okay. Let's.
The other crazy story that happened was
Yeah, the next topic.